car has a story. In today's episode, this beautiful Buick has been with the same Texas family for over 40 years. Plus, there are a lot of memories in this 67 Ford Ranch wagon. Also, the Puckett's Packard has a prom date. And in our internet segment, a cool Firebird gets a hot paint job. So join me for this week's episode of Every Car Has a Story. All you car guys have done this before. You're cruising along and there it is, a cool classic sitting in an auto salvage yard. From the road it looked like an old 50s vintage Hudson or Packard, so I had a little time on my hands, and I did what any good car guy would do. I turned around and I checked it out. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be an early 50s Packard. So, to get to the bottom of this cool cruiser story, I found the owner, Daniel Puckett.
Right here we got a 1951 Packard we're going to restore, and I'm going to allow my 5-year-old son, when he turns 17, take it to his high school prom.
Daniel found this Packard advertised at a local police auction. It had been green tagged by the city, meaning it was officially classified as an abandoned vehicle. If no one bought it at auction, it was headed for the crusher. Daniel couldn't let this classic die, and fortunately for Daniel and the Packard, he was the high bidder.
Older cars like this, or when it's a green tag vehicle, a lot of people don't purchase them because they don't know what's wrong with them, and they're usually taken to the scrapper for junk price and chewed up and made new cars.
Saved from the crusher, Daniel will turn this 300 series Packard into a cool family project, hoping for a little father-son bonding along the way.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, later on, after he gets a little bit older, he can start working on it with me. I've got a 12-year span. He's 5 years old now. So, just slowly as we go, I'd like to completely restore the whole thing, down to the motor and everything, and make it all original.
Daniel does have a lot of time to get the car back in shape, but it won't be an easy task.
To get it back in original spot, we're going to have to pull off all the chrome and all the lights, pull out all the windows and the chrome on the windows, and completely restore the paint and everything else. There's some minor little holes that I would love to have, somebody that knew the old leading do, but, I'm going to have to settle with the bonding or the Bondo and fiberglass. But as far as real bad rust, there is really not that bad, so we're not going to have to do much to it.
Well, actually, Daniel does have his work cut out for him, but he's right. The car overall is in good restorable shape, the body has never been wrecked, and the frame is relatively rust-free and perfectly straight. And what about that paint job?
And then the color paint's going to be a Fireball red metallic.
The interior will need some work as well. After all, the car is over 50 years old. However, the well-appointed chrome trim dash and instrument panel are in excellent shape. Daniel even has the interior's color scheme already picked out.
Light colored silver gray with a darker gray highlights.
Hey, check it out. It even has the AM radio option, plus the smooth column shift Ultramatic 3-speed transmission. What powers that transmission? Well, we popped the hood to take a look. What I found under the hood was a really nice looking flathead straight 8. Yeah, it's a little rusty, but Daniel says it runs just fine.
We took the tow truck over there, and we jumped it over, took a new battery too, and he got it in. It fired right up, drove it from the city and pound to our yard.
This straight 8 was standard for the 300 series back in 1951. It's 327 cubic inches, and it's backed up by a Carter WGD 2-barrel carburetor. This setup pulls an impressive 150 horsepower. This is a highly optioned car as well, which is typical for Packard. It's equipped with power steering and air assist brakes. Cutting edge stuff in 1951. As it turns out, Daniel's just like us, a typical car guy. For most of us, time and budgets are very limited, but that doesn't dampen our desire to own and restore a piece of rolling art.
I'm not as big as the people that restore cars and put them on Barrett Jackson auction. I don't have that kind of funds, but the little bit that I'll have over the next 12 years, it should work itself out, making it a pretty good car. Hopefully we'll have it done by him being 17 so that he can drive it to his high school prom, and maybe possibly have another one for my daughter. She's 2, so I got 15 years for her.
Having a cool cruiser for a memorable family event seems to be a Puckett family tradition that Daniel wants to pass down to his kids.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a pretty good classic for him, something that he'll always remember. Just like, with me, my memory is when me and my wife got married, my father-in-law owned a 37 Dodge sedan, and I drove away in it, and it was awesome.
This Packard 300 series doesn't have much of a past with the Pucketts, but it certainly has a future.
I'd like to hand down to my son and then have him hand it down and so on, and keep it in the family for a long period of time. A lot of people, they want to rent limos and spend a lot of money. Everybody does that. But how many kids can actually say, I drove to high school prom in a 1951 Packard?
And that's the story behind Daniel Puckett's 1951 Packard 300 Series sedan. If you have any information for Daniel, or if you have any spare parts laying around for his 51 Packard, log on to the website, www.everycarhasastory.com.